Right though, you know, they picked the Storm and Beastmaster. They're pretty good against the Bloodseeker.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if like, so they have these heroes that are good against Bloodseeker. Now, do you want to change it up? They might just believe in Bloodseeker as a hero to always have some sort of impact, and they need to compensate in other ways, which is entirely likely what's going to happen here.
10 seconds remaining.
So before the last 2 times, it was Earth Spirit Bloodseeker was the follow-up.
5 seconds remaining.
I think they're still going to pick Earth Spirit. I think they might just pick it here before they waste reserve time.
Damn, reserve time, huh? First phase.
I feel like they really like, the only other hero is like Sand King. Yeah, so they want Earth Spirit.
Oh, it's
Again?
kind of late, huh?
Oh.
Let's go.
Blood
Please give it to me.
Seeker.
This is some
well,
deja vu.
If any of you are interested in our thoughts on this, simply rewind your stream about 45 minutes.
I mean, it
do it
just
again.
shows that these teams are very confident. They adapted to this Bloodseeker.
Yeah,
so,
Terrorblade ban again.
Same band, huh?
yeah, I mean, the one thing I noticed is LFY seems to think that Dazzle is really good against like how Newbee plays and maybe against Bloodseeker in general. They didn't really like the Lich the first game, so that's like the change they made. And Newbee is continuing with what they believe in with this Bloodseeker or Spirit.
So they're not going to be able to ban all the heroes that counter Bloodseeker again.
Yeah.
Terrorblade, CK, Storm, Beastmaster.
The one thing I noticed actually is that they're banning TB, which is pretty good versus Beast too, right? So they're kind of, maybe they'll pick Beast now. Maybe they'll take CK instead. Or they'll like ban Beast and they'll take CK
So
now.
they'll do this mind game thing where they just outdraft each other and just pick the exact same thing again.
Depends, man.
Mind games. Well,
This is exactly what they banned last time
yeah,
too,
no,
right?
this
The
has
Lich.
been identical thus far, and if things continue, it should be chaos.
Here's
night.
what I think Newbee's thinking right now. They're trying to think if this Beast was actually a problem or if they go with CK.
I mean, it's a problem
So-
because they actually picked Bristleback to counter the Beast, right? And that was
Yeah.
a mistake.
So now they're like, okay, this Beast won't be a problem if they decide to go with it. So they ban CK.
You know, I've seen this in other games where players are really confident watching a game of Go. Where it's like, these two players have played before, and they did the exact same moves for the first 25. But it was on move 26 that they changed.
Yeah.
So which one is it then? All
What
right.
did they ban last time? Lich and what?
I don't. Well, they'll remind us in a few seconds.
Yeah, we'll find out. Just chill.
He's thinking about it though.
What will you pick to counter a Beastmaster if it comes again? Because this Beastmaster Dazzle is pretty obnoxious. These like Nagasarans and stuff, they're like common counters.
Does KPI play anything that would lane against her?
Plays Naga. He used to.
Oh, is this the return of the KPI Naga? Would that
No, it
happen?
really isn't.
No?
No, I don't think so.
Bloodseeker Naga is pretty good, man.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty good against Ice Stalker too.
Yeah. I mean, they can do it if they set up for it, which is possible.
That would be so ballsy actually if they did that.
This is the same ban, right?
I'm pretty sure it was a puck ban
I
last
can remember
time.
this image. I actually remember this in my head. So.
Yeah, no, maybe we're actually just stuck in a time loop, and we're just gonna
What did they pick here last
prepare
time?
for game 2
Groundhog
over and
Day?
over again. Yeah.
They picked
Warlock.
Warlock. They picked support. Yeah.
Why would they pick Warlock against Ice Stalker?
10
Why-
I mean, they were fully committed. I feel like they planned it out after the second phase bans, and the first 2 picks they planned out like, guys, let's just 5-man and let's take objectives together.
Yeah.
It feels like Warlock though.
I
maybe a
don't
little
think
bit-
they're gonna Warlock.
Yeah, I feel like Warlock was so mediocre in that game.
I wasn't
Yeah.
sure how happy they were. I think they would much prefer to have a Dazzle instead of a Warlock.
Yeah, that's also on their side though.
Yeah, that's the problem. Now they don't have it. Maybe that's what they were looking for. Like, guys, what's a hero that's like a Dazzle?
Lich is gone. Disruptor.
Ah,
Oh,
It's a
Disruptor.
different kind of theme over here.
Yeah, it's a different
catch
time of
hero.
VP.
Yeah, it's a catch hero now.
Warlock, how they want the VP? The VP Disruptor.
One of the big things.
I mean,
to
these
note,
3 heroes look cool.
They're pretty funny together actually. All 3 of them.
Yeah, Earth Spirit, Bloodseeker, Disruptor.
you can just
see it.
kick pull.
The Rupture.
10
I mean, we saw Disruptor have huge impacts early on in the main event. As time has gone on, he's been increasingly
Oh boy.
getting eliminated.
Boy.
The downside of Disruptor is you can get aggroed really easily just because he's such a weak laner. You can't really zone people properly, and that's why LFI take this Bristleback. Like, imagine you're a Disruptor player, you're this 5 position, you have no items at all. You're just right-clicking somebody, Thunderstriking, hoping your carry helps out.
10 seconds remaining.
He doesn't because he's Artur.
What?
Or do you think they're gonna pick one of those common Bristleback counters? It seems pretty awkward, right? Like Necro, Sven, Chaos Knight TBs.
I could see Necro maybe. Okay. I mean,
Oh, that's
that-
a pretty
it's-
common.
In theory, it's a counter
Dazzle?
Bristle, yeah. But I just don't know how much I believe in this hero. But they won with it, right? So
Wait, do you think it was the reason they won, though? Or do you think it could have just been any old stun in there?
No, it was very good against Reaver, that hero.
yeah, I mean,
Really good.
playing Weaver against Axe is very scary because you can just die in a call instantly, and there's nothing you can really do about it. So maybe in that sense, it is
It's
decent.
also the Call Rupture, right? They're gonna pick Pudge next, and then it's gonna be done.
In terms of Newbee's first 4 picks, what is just like a sort of simple description of what their plan is, what their strength is as a team?
They have a ton of team fight. They have good catch. They can go on the offensive really quickly.
Yeah, what I say they lack right now is some sort of building damage. Like someone to like these 2 heroes, the Bloodseeker and the Axe, want to go in for the purse for SEC. So now it's up to SEC to find a hero where he's comfortable, like being objective based, where he'll take towers, he'll do physical damage, he'll just be the backline.
Sniper part 2?
It's just, yeah.
Sniper part 2?
Sniper part 2 might be coming soon, boys. So just wonder what else he would play. Let's say they would just ban it.
I want to ask the same question about LFY, where their lineup is centered, and of course they're taking a very long time on this 4th pick.
So far, pretty good laning.
Is that the Axe counter?
Yeah, it's a Bloodseeker counter too. I think.
Wait, so are they doing this offlane Bristle then? Or
Yeah.
what do you, I mean, Super's played mid Bristle before, but that was like against Broodmother, I believe. I mean, it's unlikely they'll play it mid, but it's possible, which is a good thing about their draft right now.
I mean, do you think Bristle needs a lot of help against Bloodseeker Disruptor?
Definitely.
I think Bloodseeker is one of the heroes that will destroy Bristle in lane.
So then do you send Dazzle down with him, and you have some kind of morph Night Stalker lane against Axe?
Yeah, it all depends on like how each team is using their resources. Like I believe the Earthspear is probably going to sit on mid, like no matter what.
Yeah.
So that means the Disruptor is probably going to be Bloodseeker, and then this Axe is going to be on his own trying to get it. And
10 seconds.
I would say Morphly Night Stalker to be definitely enough to zone this Axe. He's not very strong at laning.
What do you think about Ursa for
5
Newbee?
seconds
Last pick.
remaining.
Ursa for Newbee.
I mean, we have to see one more hero.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, they're going to see what the mid matchup is, right? They're going to see if this Bristle is going to go mid or if the Bristle is going to go offlane. Or if this Morphling goes mid for some reason.
Because I think regardless of where these heroes go, if the Ursa can get lane mid, I think it's a really good pick this game.
You don't agree with Artur though? You don't think they need tower damage?
Tower damage? Yeah, they do, but they need to just kill them first, I think. And then the tower damage will come when they have
5
Aegis.
seconds remaining.
Like, it'll just fall regardless.
So I want to ask the same question we asked before for LFY. What's their composition about, and what are they lacking?
I mean, they just kind of run at you, but they don't define high ground very well.
Honestly,
They have no stuns?
Yeah, it's pretty hard for me to look at this lineup and say, yeah, this is what they're doing. Honestly, it's kind of weird looking.
There's like
Maybe it just is
individual
like
strengths.
this Bristle back and this Morphling next to each other. It just doesn't fit, I think. It just looks weird, man.
I mean, they need a center right now. And then Puck's
Yeah.
ban. I don't think they should Ember. Like, they need some hardcore guy.
Here we go.
Oh, okay.
Omni Knight.
That's a stun.
Ursa? Ursa, man? Did it play?
Ursa.
That's a stun.
All right, I defer to
not-
the
that's not-
experts.
I mean, this is.
What's going on?
This
Oh,
is-
the morph
wait.
is strength 4.
Wait, this is possible that this Bristle can go mid or off lane, and this Omni can go mid or off lane. This is what they're doing here.
10 seconds remaining.
I think they're trying to, give SCC a hard time picking a hero. So he needs to try to find a hero good versus those two heroes.
What's Sumo Ursa here? He owns everyone.
Yeah, I mean, Ursa would be actually pretty good, I think. Again, although they wouldn't have that good of building damage, I think they have a way to accelerate the game, the pace of the game, because they don't really want to. Maybe they'll feel okay going late game against Morphling, but I think
They'll be fine.
Yeah, they'll probably be fine.
Ursa.
Your high ground, you can go high ground too without like a dedicated building hitter, just because you don't really have a lot of catch or stuns.
Let's see
What's the
Alchemist, man.
punish?
Alchemist?
Yeah, they're gonna Alchemist. man.
Why would you do that? I mean, I can see it, but like, don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta be honest. I have a really hard time understanding LFY's lineup.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see individual combos, but like,
I mean, the problem I see.
Holistically, yeah.
Yeah, the problem I see is their 3 cores, at least from my understanding, is Bristle, Morph, and Omni, right? And these 3 heroes don't really like give you a way to go on someone. Like, they're like super. This Bristle will run in with the Night Stalker, give you vision, and then vision for who? This Morphling to maybe insta kill someone with E-Blade. But even then, like, they're not necessarily able to go on anybody out of position. Like this Disruptor, if he's like killing a ward solo, it's like, well, what are we gonna do about that?
Yeah.
Silencer it up.
If we didn't get super bad placements at TI, we would be flaming this draft right now. That's how I feel.
but I mean, it also sounds like you're talking about LFY trying to just get really nice lane matchups by leaving some ambiguity, allocating their heroes.
I don't even know if they get that though with what they have.
Yeah.
It's a bit awkward.
I mean, they must have practiced this because it's a pretty bold pick, this Omni Knight.
Oh, Shadow.
Shadow Fiend, huh?
There's their building hitter.
That is an objective hero, that's for sure. This hero will give them the ability to do Roche and the ability to snowball.
SCCC on Shadow Fiend as the final pick. And with this, Newbee faces against LFY. You heard us panelists talk a little bit about our insuredness with LFY's lineup, but they've been performing amazingly at this tournament, and they need just one more game to get to the grand finals. Who will it be?
Let's find out. And a big thank you, of course, to you, Sean, and of course to our panelists, RTZ, Blitz, and MV, for taking the time and giving us some excellent insight into this Game 3 draft. And what a draft indeed. Again, starting off very similar, felt like a bit of a replay, but both teams putting a different spin on it towards the end. The Omni Knight comes out, which will be played by Inflame, Super to take the mid bristleback at the moment, and the Shadow Fiend from SCCC, a hero that we haven't seen that much of at all on the main stage.
Very little, yeah. This hero has been falling out of favor just because you need a BKB really to fight, but I mean, the panel said it themselves too. You look at LFY's draft and that's pretty much it. This is a question mark. It's very bizarre, but
so you feel more confident with what Newbee have?
Newbee has a crazy amount of team fight and catch. That's the thing that I'm looking at. Well, LFY, they definitely lack in that, but if they're able to get the lane matchup, I think that's what they're looking for here. They're just trying to dominate lanes and then be able to snowball and just run at you and not really need catch. They're just going to kind of trying to steamroll over. But I think Newbee's got pretty damn good resources to deal with Morphling. So many different silences. But then that Omni Knight, that repel could put a big factor in. We'll see how the lanes come out, though, if they're able to make this Omni Knight work. Because last time they did play it, they put it in the mid lane, and it did not work for them so well.
They did not. No, yeah, Super did indeed pull it out on the group stages in one of those games where they'd already secured themselves top spot. But looking to take things a little more seriously here, putting it in Flame on the Omni, taking him to the side lanes.
So I've seen them doing this before when they do the Morphling Dazzle versus the Axe in the offlane. This Axe gets destroyed. He pretty much can't walk up. He gets poison touched right at the start. So we're going to have to see Kakam either make space down bottom for the Axe or put pressure elsewhere to force reactions. Because I feel like KP could definitely suffer if that is the case that DDC wants to do. And it looks like it is because Afu is going toward top with Inflame.
Yeah, and that definitely seemed to work out heavily for LFY last game, as we saw shutting down KP, getting rid of this beefy offlaner and making sure that he does not have the start that he needs.
Shut down KP and try to shut down the Bloodseeker in the lane, because the mid lane, it's a Bristleback versus a Shadow Fiend. Bristle's just gonna spam quills and farm, while Shadow Fiend also gets farm. So that's like whatever, but the dual pressure that's coming out is gonna be big. We see actually the Dazzle starts out with 8 tangos and pulls 2 over to the Omni Knight as well. So they're trying to have a lot of pressure, and they're trying to make sure that Inflame has a good game as that Omni top.
I mean, as you say, this bottom lane of LFY with the potential to punish KP. How does this top lane do with the Omni Knight, do you feel, against Newbee's safe lane?
Disruptor is, like the panel was talking about, he's one of the weakest level 1 heroes. Just unable to really zone. His one zoning spell is high mana cost, and he's super slow and very squishy, susceptible to getting chased down. So the Omni Knight should be able to get a lot up here on Inflame, and that could be the big access point to their victory like we're talking about. That repel can be absolutely massive on this Morphling. They have 2 different ways to save him in the fights versus what Newbee does have.
Mid lane as well. It's going to be very interesting to watch, see how these supports do as they look to harass each other. Kaka and Arfu
KP actually
getting at it.
Really good block bottom, so he's going to get at least the first wave going toward his way, and he has the hard camp blocked up.
Look at this already, very early aggression onto Super. Arfu will be there to keep SCCC off. Both supports really getting aggressive onto the enemy mid laners.
The good old dual lane mids coming out. Omni Knight's already going to get everything top, and Afu understands that Kaka's also going to play around mid, so the mirror movement comes out.
I mean, once there's a couple of levels on all the heroes in this mid lane, is there a pair that starts to climb ahead, or does it remain pretty close?
It's all about the positioning of the lane, and if anyone steps out of position as well. I would say that the nighttime is the big one for Night Stalker. If Kaka makes one misroll step, he can get turned on very easily by the Void and Super on the Bristleback.
Top lane, Mugi, feeling confident with the Blood Rage, CS healing it back up, farming right under the tower there of Inflame.
So both offlaners are getting a decent start here.
Here we go again, rolling onto Arfu. Kaka looking for the body blocks, does get the 2-man boulder smash. Again, Super getting forced right back.
Double melee heroes right now is going to hurt if SCCC gets a good start for that raise damage. However, Super does have the bottle finished. And they should be emphasizing on doing some stacks, some ancient stacks, but it actually is blocked out, it looks like, from that ward that Newbee placed initially. Both of them are being blocked out. So they're already understanding what they want to do with this Bristleback, of course.
CS is well in the mid lane, very even at the moment. Bottom lane, KP getting gone upon here with the wave. from Monet.
At least he's got level 2, almost level 3 already on KP too. Because he's dire, you get that gets that better equilibrium of the lane. But now it's going to start pushing more into LFY's favor, and this is where it gets harder and harder for KP now.
Yeah, top lane, Inflame, getting a lot of experience here. Good levels, and
Super's getting pressured really hard mid, level 3 on the Shadow Fiend, getting the raise combo, all 3 hitting perfectly by SCCC.
as the Salve there as well, ready to get back up. Salve will be cancelled by Arfu. But
Getting a very good start already with 11 and 9 CS on the Shadow Fiend. Kaka's level 3 too, so now they can actually put some pressure onto that Bristleback. We used to at one point see Shadow Fiend versus that Bristle. The Shadow Fiend can be one of those Silver Edge carriers as well to deal with Bristle in some stages of the game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they've got a couple of potential, you know, if they want to go for it as well on the Bloodseeker. And see what the build will be to deal with Super. But as you say, at the moment, the plan going nicely for Newbee, making sure that Super doesn't have an entirely free lane in that middle.
Yeah, they have a clear-cut game plan, you know, with the wards that they place. They place one to block the big camp bottom, they block 2 Ancients, so they know exactly what LFY wants to do. Top lane, Inflame getting chased out, the Blood Rage, should be able to connect here. Uh-oh. Easily brought down with that nice kinetic field by Faith.
Yeah, whilst there's no point in that repel, certainly Inflame still has to be careful how far he comes out.
Super's actually going to start. After that death, this is where the matchup becomes very hard now for Bristle. So Night Stalker actually doesn't even want to come near here because 2 melee heroes versus Shadow Fiend, you eat those raises. Every time you walk up as a Bristle, you eat 1. If you're trying to last hit too, you eat 1 raise to the face so you don't have your back turned.
And off the back of this, the CS certainly going to start to split between the two of them. SCCC getting unlucky with the rune spot as it will be down towards the bottom.
Nighttime hits, see what Apu's able to make of it. Gonna be really important for his rotations.
Kaka will grab it there. Super was looking to head down and try and pick it up for himself.
So Super getting to that 1 point of goo now too, so it looks like he does want to try to threaten kills with that nighttime. And like we kind of expected, KP resorts to the jungle because that bottom lane is impossible after the first few waves.
There's the Arfu.
They're pincering mid. They're going for SCCC with that point in goo. They should be able to try to chase him down here. The backup though from Kaka, the stun catches too.
Just turning around with the raises, bringing Super down low. SCCC will still fall. We'll see if Kaka can get something in return. Roll. Oh, it's going to be off the mark there. Arfu jukes it. Holds him back with the Void Snow. In fact, Kaka, he may go down. The tower hitting him, bringing him down incredibly low. Will survive.
Everyone low though. When this happens, when you're forcing plays like this and everyone starts getting low, this is where Bloodseeker just is like, oh, okay, I have pretty much hasted movement speed. I can run down this Omni Knight. Again, Inflame gets punished.
1-for-1 trade. Definitely trying to and succeeding in getting that kill on SCCC.
It was really important to have that, even that 1 point in go for Super to have that extra damage from the minus armor and that slow. Kaka was in perfect position, gets a nice 2-man stun, but that extra rotation, really important from DDC, making the move. Since he can just leave the Morphling bottom, he knows Morphs versus nobody, now alleviates them to be able to put pressure elsewhere with these 2 supports roaming around.
Trying to do something else with this nighttime here.
They spot Faith.
DDC moving in onto Faith for the top. Will be able to glimpse back the Arfu Night Stalker, but he continues to move in. The same time, mid lane, SCCC was able to bring down Super once again with the help of Kaka's Earth Spirit.
Kaka's just, every time he sees this Bristleback getting it left alone, he makes for a play and makes it go. Top lane, Mugi, quick TP out. No real disable, as the panel mentioned. That's what LFY is really lacking. There's not that great kind of catch to get those kills. There's no real stuns. It's the Void from the Night Stalker as well as the Adaptive Strike from the Morphling. That's literally it for their stuns.
Newbee as well, using that time to get their first Ancient stack started there in their own jungle. Couple of stacks up now.
The wards have died now, so LFY can also begin to do that Ancient stacking for Bristleback to start catching back up. He is quite punished by that Shadow Fiend in the lane with Kaka's rotation.
Look at this as well.
Bottom now, SCCC making an early rotation. Has a haste rune.
Seems like it doesn't seem... I mean, he's still hanging around the neighborhood, thinking about where he's going to head.
Top lane, Faith.
That's going to be where the action happens indeed. Straight away onto the Disruptor, but he'll be able to take the loops back. Inflame. Still with this build, 3-0-2. Not going to repel.
Try to cut him off, but the creep wave actually catches him.
Yeah, not feeling confident diving there for Faith, so Faith will survive for now. Oh, well, Arfu's going to hang around behind him, looking to cut him out on the way back, but Mugi is there.
He sees him, that night vision.
How deep does Arfu want to go for this? He's still very apprehensive of going in on this Disruptor, knows that he may be punished.
Oh, look at Mugi. What a nice teammate. Blood Rage of the Disruptor gives him the last hits to heal up. What a teammate, honestly.
Mid lane Super and SCCC back at it. Still with the lead here on this Shadow Fiend. With the haste rune in the bottle, feeling very confident. Top lane, LFY looking for some action. The Newbee are there as a 3-man. Arfu's coming in with the wraparound, trying to go on to Muga, but already the blood right down on the ground. Inflame with the self-repel, moving in closer. The heal
SCCC
bombs
TPing
down.
with the haste, though.
And indeed, here he goes, he's ready to fight. Turns towards Arfu, that's going to be the Night Dog down almost certainly. To SCC, no, he doesn't finish it. Go back and finish that kill, son. There we go. Finally goes back for it, does take him down.
He wanted to get more. Great TP by SCCC, that saving that haste rune from earlier. Able to react instantly to that aggression. So that first nighttime, not really the most successful by Opto. They got that one kill in the mid lane to help Super, which is very useful, but other than that, wasn't able to accomplish the greatest amount. But they tried to threaten, that's the important part. They were trying to pressure, and they at least got an Ancient Stack up for Super later on now.
I wonder if they'll be able to do anything with this. You know, KP's picked up an Invis rune. There's no vision on that rune spot when he did grab it. He'll look towards the bottom lane. Very hard kill really for him to get on his own. Does need a +1. And he hasn't got any coming in at the moment himself. And in fact, Monet is the one to get some backup inbound.
Radiant are scanning.
So KP unlikely to achieve too much here with this Invis.
They look like they knew. Looks like they knew that Invis was there though. That Radiant scan coming out from DDC in the mid lane looks like they were looking for an invisible person. They threw it on top of their high ground there, so they were expecting something happening. Super now continuing to stack up Ancients. Same thing with DDC. They know they need to accelerate this Bristleback in comparison versus the Shadow Fiend, but Newbee wants the pressure. They've got to smoke. It's not nighttime anymore. They want to get some deep wards down to watch those movements coming out.
But look at this positioning here.
DDC knows, though.
Straight up, the smoke just gone. They're going to search up on the high ground. DDC using the trees to his advantage for the ball.
Oh, gets stunned up.
Beautiful kick there from Kaka. Will hold DDC back. He can grave himself by some time, but there's no one coming in for this Dazzle, who's all alone. Will be taken down. Another kill for SCCC. Max stacks now on the souls. Killing spree begins.
Tanks the gank. Monet's able to now leave bottom at least, but that gives KP a lot more window to farm there. He's actually level 7 already on Axe with a Ring of Health. Pretty similar to the last time when they picked the Axe, getting to get that Blink Dagger to pretty good timing. And now they're going to be able to pressure this tower a bit too. And I think he stole a double stack as well on the Axe.
Definitely already. I mean, you talked about the plan from LFY to be to, as you say, shut down KP in a similar method that they did in game 1, but game 2, sorry, but it's not happened this time around because he's the Axe, because he just has a bit better potential in the jungle early on in comparison to the Bristle.
Yeah.
He's kept himself in a, not in an amazing position, but he's certainly not falling too far behind. And in fact, mid lane, the setup's there with the Thunder Strike that looks to close the gap onto Arfu. The slow connects from Kaka as he rolls in. Boulder Smash as well, and with the kinetic field, Arfu has nowhere to run. SCCC getting another kill set up for him from his teammates. Bottom lane KP incredibly deep here. Does have the TP, and indeed straight out. Knows that there's no chance of him being held back.
For the glimpse top, but the repel.
Inflame will slip his way out of there.
So they were trying to, make some aggressive plays to make space for Super farming those Ancients. He did clear out a triple stack, and we'll have at least the Soul Ring and the Ring of Health delivered. And he had a regen as well on the Bristleback while doing that, so he is very healthy to go continue that. So 7-1, but only a 1k gold lead for Newbee. Shows how much LFY is really distributing the resources. Morphling's been left alone bottom, just free farming. Bristleback resorted to those Ancients, of course. So losing that Night Stalker, losing a couple kills here. I think LFY is okay with that.
Yeah, and pretty much the entirety of that lead being on SCCC's Shadow Fiend.
Yeah, and as we touched on, he is going to be going for the Shadow Blade Rush on that Shadow Fiend to deal with that Bristle later on. Also just a natural item that people do like on Shadow Fiend anyway. It's not just Bristle. So Super clearing up that next triple Ancient stack, and with the Vanguard online, that's where they're going to feel a lot better around this Bristle. Also gets the level 10 for that 8 strength bonus. So he's very, very, very durable now. KP, 600 gold away from Blink Dagger, so that's going to be incredibly good. This Axe pick is actually pretty cool, even though it's a hero that we haven't seen in favor so much, but this time it's versus Dazzle and versus Bristle, so it's like pretty much the dream Axe game for killing people.
And we certainly saw how well KP can perform on this hero in game 1.
Yep.
Bit of a kick there onto Faith. Faith not too happy with that one. He takes a couple of hits from the tower there. That'll be a report. Bottom lane, KP. Take a fairly sizable heal bomb. Poison touch on him as well. We'll go straight for the TP out. Down bottom, Kaka on the chase down for Super. See if they can set up the vision for the
Trying
glimpse.
to get the
Order smash,
glimpse.
yeah, will connect, but they're a little too deep there for Faith's Lightning, and Newbee will back off.
They can't fight around the Omni Knight is the big thing. If LFY has Omni there, I don't think Newbee can take those unless they have Disruptor ulti or they have vision of where the Omni Knight is positioned. And they do have pretty damn good vision so far in this game being placed out. And the Sentry Ward actually off the mark from DDC, thinking it's on the high ground.
Radiant's top tower.
So that one also does not block the Ancient Camp, but it will watch whenever they are making those rotations through that jungle. Bloodseeker, been left alone for quite a while now. Mugi just farming top, going for that Radiance build as we've been seeing so common. Now they could go for some pressure here. I think, is the tome being delivered as well? It is. So Faith is going to have level 6 on Disruptor, and with the Shadow Blade timing, they could go for something here.
SCCC looking to set up with the Shadow Blade.
And they get a glimpse.
Looking for Super.
There's an Omni in the area there with
Look at this
Dazzle.
wrap around from Arfu. Gets the Silence straight away. They will get the Requiem off and the Boulder Smash onto the Night Stalker. Bursting him down over the ranges. That's one gone. Magnetize from Kaka to connect onto 3. Keeps it going there with the stone placement.
There's a lot of sustain though coming out between the Dazzle and the Omni Knight, so this will be a lot of stones being used by Kaka. He continues spreading his
Keeping it going. I mean, it's bought time for Mugi to come in and deal with the Rupture.
The two-man stun, it catches the Omni Knight.
Means that there's no backup straight away from Inflame. Super left behind. Now with the glitch back. No, not quite going to be there. Inflame has got the repel. Now kick forward. Mugi trying to close some sort of a gap onto Inflame, but he'll keep the distance. KP with the wraparound has that blink. He's going to be hunting. They know that Inflame's still somewhere in the neighborhood. Now they're going to vision back on him. There's the jump in for KP. Sets up for another. Newbee now leading 10-1, moving down the mid lane, taking the tower, and again, just a great hold around that tier 1 there. Not expecting the Shadow Blade Requiem and the Kaka Spirit once again, disabling that Omni Knight from long range.
So much team fight coming out from Newbee, like we mentioned. They have an immense amount of silences to deal with LFY's lineup, so the positioning from LFY has to be pretty immaculate to get all their spells off once they walk up versus that Blood Ray and versus that Boulder Smash. Kaka placed it perfectly. And yeah, now Axe with the Blink Dagger. They've got tools to catch on top of the Glimpse. So much cash for Newbee.
Such a lead indeed in terms of kills. Still though, the farm difference not that much. 2k gold lead at this stage is not the end of the world at all for LFY.
Yeah, LFY, they're trying to match the aggression and make plays happen to make space for this Morphling. Morph, once you get Linken's online, you can start getting more involved in these fights. But until then, it's quite hard versus what Newbee does have to offer with all those silences. Starting to get invasive though with that nighttime.
See what they can do. I mean, SCCC on the front of it all. They'll lead in with the Void. Silence upon him as well. They have the Dust. Shadow Blade is not going to save with the Static Storm. No, it's not enough. Monet has been repelled up. Closing the gap with SCCC. KP does get the grab, but they've already lost the Shadow Fiend. KP now potentially drops well with the Poison Touch on him. They're surrounding the Axe. They will get the glimpse back on Arfu, trying to take this Night Stalk away from them, but KP's down. Caught out, and Arfu chasing around for more there, but Newbee will get the remainder up to the high ground, but a good fight back there from LFY. Great way to open there onto the Shadow Fiend, and this time the repel's there in time onto Monet, enabling the small thing to go ham.
Exactly what we were saying, yeah. The repel can be a big factor to deal with those silences, and now Linken should be finished up now on the Morphling.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
But yeah, with Super getting enabled so much by that.
Look at this.
Ancient Stacks. Alpha gets ruptured now. And the heals are there, the sustain.
A little glimpse on the Rupture. I mean, it's working. Little bits of damage, bringing him down low. Fuse Rage Drop will block one. Bottom smashes out. Doesn't connect onto DDC though. So the Grave's still at KP.
The dunk.
Comes in with the dunk. The Grave's not going to save him. Now they're looking for more. This magnetized. The Kaka's keeping on going. And set up for a second. DDC drops. Mugi getting a good amount of speed boost. KP looking to close it onto Monet. Kaka rolls in. Has
They get the call.
He starts to morph into strength. Do they have the damage to fight through it? It's going to be close. Monet going for the wait for the TP out. Is he going to make it? The root's there. It doesn't matter. He's still out. Will escape now though. Inflames the one.
Another call.
KP jumps in, gets the grab. Newbee take another.
That's what we were talking about. So much catch on Newbee. Whenever LFY is trying to retreat, there's Glimpse, the Boulder Smash, the Axe Call. They've got an immense amount of way to actually get heroes when they are retreating. So LFY has to watch out the way that they go for those extensions.
I mean, look
They're
at that.
passing past the tower.
Look at the damage there done by Kaka.
Yeah.
In comparison to the rest of his team that fight. Beautiful play on the Spirit. Consistently just keeping that magnetized going for some of the longest durations I've seen here on the main stage. Some massive ultimates.
This hero's been getting picked a lot here on the main stage and having an incredibly good win rate. I believe it's getting close to that 80% win rate here, and we're seeing why. These high-skill players who just are super comfortable on the hero are just having incredibly good positioning with their spells. And 0-0-10 on Kaka here. really enabling his team.
Still, definitely the issue that we sort of thought would come to the front being the fact that this Morphling, very hard for Newbee to kill.
Yes.
We saw there, despite getting low, he just has so much mana to work with now. Has that Lincoln Sphere, which he didn't even have at that point. Now it's out on him. And he's still very hard for Newbee to chase down and catch. They can certainly kill the heroes around him. I mean, for now at least, Super is, of course, going to get to that point as well, where he as well is very hard to deal with. But this Morphling certainly on track to become an issue as the game continues.
Newbee's trying to continue that pressure though. Apu actually great slow, but he's gonna get glimpsed back. He's gonna get brought down here.
Yeah, they've got the combo.
They can go into Roche too, maybe off of this.
With that, very nice.
With that minus armor from the presence as well as the Blood Rage. I don't know if they have the medallion. They don't yet. But it will get sped up a little bit from that Blood Rage.
Yeah, they should get the, I mean, LFY, they don't really have the best heroes to go for any sort of steal unless they just want to waltz in the front of it all. I mean, Super's trying to get the Quill Spray stacks up on the sidelines. Bit of a mini glimpse to hold him back.
The weave is thrown out though.
They actually throw down the Requiem, trying to keep LFY at a distance, limit the damage they can do. KP now with the cool onto the Bristle. They'll back off, they got the Roche, and they get the Aegis onto the hands of SCCC. KP getting on it, the Static Storm's down though! Now they have to be careful, GA comes out.
Super's way too beefy
He's
though.
taken down one, and with the armor still ticking down from that offensive weave, Kaka looks to be in trouble as well. He tries to roll his way out, but they surround him, take down the Earth Spirit.
Super can just literally run into them though, it still seems, with how farmed he is. With that weave and with that Omni Knight backing him up, the coils just start stacking up and Newbee has to be a little careful. They got the Aegis though.
Yeah.
And it's Mugi is not really a hero. Like as the Bloodseeker, he gets damage through the fight, of course, because that Magnetize spreading, but doesn't have any item because he's going for that big build-up. So now the Relic will be acquired by him, and he will be becoming more prominent in those engagements as well. As Triple C is actually not building into the Silver Edge just yet. Still, looks like he's going to be going for the Bloodthorn after the SNY.
And the SNY, of course, at this stage, very nice to have in these sort of fights where you certainly do need a bit of beef with this Bristleback running towards you.
I think it's okay. He switched it. I was like, he's pretty weird when he's going for a straight.
Oh, well, rather than the Blood.
Yeah, he's going to go for the Silver Edge. But yeah, I love the SNY build because he knows that the Bloodseeker is going for that Radiance build. So you want to have that mid-gamey fight from your Shadow Fiend while your Bloodseeker's building up. So definitely good choice for him to go there, and they're keeping their aggression on.
I love this as well because KP could find a good jump off the back of this SCCC, giving the vision with the Shadow Blade jump in straight away onto it, playing with the Requiem. Goodbye Omni Knight. Question is, can they get anything more? Offensive weave comes out onto SCCC and Faith, so they start to back away. Super trying to close the gap upon him. Monet on the top, looking towards the act, but the glimpse is there. Looking to send back the Night Stalker. Super though continues to move in. The Quill Spray stacks building up. KP again with the call. The Static Storm.
The Static Storm's nice.
They will be able to walk Monet out of it though. The kinetic field does not keep him trapped. SCCC back with the Shadow Blade, seeing if he can get himself back and involved. Boulder Smash connects. Dazzle's there though with the heal. KP on the side gets the call onto the Night Stalker. Arfu gets dunked down. They'll pop the Shadow Fiend once. He is going to be ready to come back for round two, and Super's falling incredibly low here. Super gets taken out, and DDC as well no longer has the mana to pull off the save potential. As Newbee may lose the Aegis, but they certainly take the fight there, even killing off Super in his incredibly tanky state. There are huge amounts done there by SCCC in that fight.
Yeah, fight just starts lasting too long, and the immense amount of disables, and like we mentioned, like the fight from Newbee, they just have so many ways to lock down and kite that Bristleback.
Great way to start as well. Just getting that Omni out of there. And then Super, it looked like Super was just on the verge of just going absolutely ham, but somehow Newbee, they keep everyone alive. As we can see here, the stacks building up. SCCC as well stays back to play around with the Dazzle.
This Storm saved KP right there. They were able to build the distance there, and that's where they were able to get like the number advantage mostly. So it's been a 4v5 throughout all this, and then just the lockdown. Look at that, the stun's coming out. KP's able to isolate Apu on the side, and the fight gets so split up they have to be sure to take out the Aegis, but then the Rupture starts building up, and you see Bloodseeker. As the fight progresses, those fights taking longer and longer, the Thirst becomes absurd how much damage he gets. I want to say he had over plus 100 something damage on top of that Relic.
Yeah, the stacks look to be at maximum,
yeah.
Certainly with the amount of low health heroes that there were for the duration of that, but 18-5 now, 6k gold lead. Newbee looking incredibly strong at the moment here in this game 3.
They're going to have Silver Edge too, to deal with that Bristleback in the further situations.
Alfu on the hunt. He's actually coming into this one, but there's 5 heroes here. He's got to be
all alone.
KP jumps in, grabs the Night Stalker. There is backup on the way from LFY. First heal to be popped out onto Alfu. Super contemplating about leading into this one, but Kaka just rolls forward, trying to make a go on it. Inflame's down the low ground, just get the magnetize out, stuns the Omni, Static Storm and Kinetic Field as well, holding Inflame back. He can't do anything. The Grave will come out to Super, but that's already both of the healers out. At the same time, though, Super's manning up, takes down 3. KP's still alive, though. Silence onto Monet to hold him out. A 3-for-4 trade at the moment there. Monet will escape. 2 alive left on the side of Newbee, both Mugi and KP.
The bristles damage there in that fight. 4,961. Monet comes in to try to clean up at the end there. Gets a couple kills. Pretty nice. And this only happens. This could have been really bad for Newbee here.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
This by Kaka. The stun on the Omni Knight, then the Storm by Faith right on top.
Just on the tip there. Can't quite get out of the field either.
But look at the weave. Everybody's kind of weaved up here, and the quills start adding up. Cards start stacking really heavily. You see SCCC as well. His armor who's ticking down. Monet comes in and just able to clean that one up. And the E-Blade is going to be coming online in quite fast succession for Monet. About 800 gold away from that one now.
Yeah, that definitely is the scariest thing I feel in this game for Newbee. The fact that even though their own cause are surviving, it's still that you look towards this morph thing. Monet hasn't died once, and as you say, he is still hitting that timing that he was hoping for. And when you're sure, you look towards SCCC, he's got a lot of health going with the stats from the SMY, pretty much does have the Silver Edge, but with no BKB as such, he's still a bit of a liability to being nuked down very low by that E-Blade combo.
Smoked up. They want to try to go for mid here. Ooh, gets the quick blink out though. They wanted to wait for Super to be closer on LFY to make that move happen. Because they do have the replicate with that smoke, so they can always have the Morphling jump in and join the fray.
Towards
But now
Super in the mid lane, they're jumping
They've got the Silver Edge.
They've got the Blade Mail as well. With the Silver Edge hit, he is gone. Don't come down a little too early, doesn't matter. That's Super down for 50 seconds. The rest of LFY looking to get the heck out of there. They will do so. The remainder of the smoke used to just get away from Newbee. Top lane though, pushing in. Arfu, he is going to show himself. He's going in for the
tower.
tower. He's going to try and get himself out of there, and it looks like he will not.
Got the glimpse.
The vision's there for the glimpse. Beautifully played into the tree line, and he will pay for his sins there as they take down another 24-8. Blood certainly being spilled in favor of Newbee here. So many kills. But still, LFY very much in this. E-Blade is done now for Monet.
The Morphling's the one. It's going to be a lot of eyes on the Morphling. If Super's still pretty damn tanky. Still took quite a while to die, even though he was Silver Edged up because of that Solar Crest hood. So as long as he can tank for that Morphling, the Morphling can still go pretty ridiculous in the fights. The Replicate is also pretty useful on both the Shadow Fiend and the Axe. And even on a Bloodseeker with a Radiance. So Replicate can be putting a big factor in a lot of these team fights later on if he does have it up. Mech finished up on it in Flame, going for that Guarding Greave. When he has that, it's going to be way easier for him to be sure to get his spells off, to not worry about the Blood Rights and the Geomagnetic Grip from that Earth Spirit. Still has to watch out for the Static Storm mostly though. So probably Guarding Greaves into some type of mobility item coming up next on the Omni Knight.
Got the Force on KP as well now, so can look to utilize that sort of Berserker's Call into trying to just displace the members of LFY whilst they're ruptured.
Yeah, KP's having an excellent game. After, like, of course, the lane is pretty hard for an Axe, but he got good blink timing, and he's 6-2 and 7.
Good lane though, Newbee smoking up. As for, they'll get the scan there. They know that someone's waiting for that bounty rune, but here they go. How are they going to go in on this one? Straight away with the silence into the Berserker's Call. That's the Omni down. Great awareness there, checking out to see if someone was waiting for that 26-minute bounty rune drop. They get the kill off the back of it, down for 40.
And the stun catches DDC right on the tip.
Silence as well. He's a little far away, they're trying to close it. They have the glimpse up as potential.
DDC's trying to make
they've
space.
got the Yule set up, that'll be enough. With the kinetic field down, KP's there as well with the call. That's another for Newbee as they keep this train a-rolling. And SCCC with his build as well, going straight for extra tank ability. Satanic next on the list. He knows that the damage is there for his side. As you said earlier with the SMY, it just continues to this point where he just has to keep himself alive.
He gets a call.
Beautiful little force play. They've got the Silver Edge break hit as well. Can they kill him though? He's down to half health. Backup's coming in. The Static Storm, the Geomagnetic Grip.
They get the glimpse too.
Sending the Omni back. but Super will still survive. Looks like he doesn't need Inflame.
Oh, God.
Turning up with the E-Blade, he's nuked down 2. Arfu on the side, getting chased down by Moogie. Can he survive? The Battle Hunger ticket is down.
Moogie's in trouble.
Radiance will get the kill, but Monet! Triple kill on this Morphling. He's
I've seen this.
absolutely massive.
I've seen this Monet Morphling before. This looks similar to one of the other games they've had during the group stages when he was playing it.
Oh, look at that damage. 6-0-4 in a game.
That was really precise though by Newbee. They're getting the silent stun on the Omni Knight,
Very
and then they
nicely
send him
taken.
back with the glimpse,
Yeah.
so he's unable to actually repel himself to save. So Monet's going to be making the adjustment now. Since Inflame and them, they're probably like all talking about it. They're like, Omni Knight actually needs to be using a lot of these times to repel on himself. So go for the BKB on the Morphling since there's so many ways to silence and to save them up.
But as we saw, even though they threw so much down in terms of trying to keep that Omni out of the fight, Monet was still able to go ham. And that's just the problem when you're playing against this lineup with both a Dazzle and an Omni. You have these two very annoying supports that you have to deal with. Otherwise, LFY's cores are just going to be enabled to go ham, and it only requires either DDC or Inflame to be there with the backup.
Level 21 Morphling now. 3 levels over anyone on the side of Newbee. And the Bristleback as well. Super's level 19, keeping up, stacking more evasion to deal with what Newbee's got to dish out. So as long as he can, that's what we're saying, he just needs to be that super frontline tank, and he'll deal damage naturally through the coils with that, with the weave building up. And Monet now, BKB finished. He is a absolute menace in these engagements.
Still have a little bit of control through that magic immunity, of course, with the cool, but as we're seeing, it's not necessarily the control that's been the issue, it's just the damage. If Monet's allowed to start shifting with the attributes, he is going to survive these fights.
This Roche could be exactly what LFY needs for these next upcoming fights on Monet.
Newbee do have all the ultimates.
Full defensive weave, all 5 heroes.
They've dropped the blood right down. The smash comes through. Monet, Super, out of the pit and immediately back in.
Still dies very fast with that nasal goose sticking up.
Does KP want to make the big plays? Looking towards it, heading outside of the pit, takes the sentry down, blood right in again. Boulder smash, this time does connect onto Super.
It's nighttime, so they have a big advantage with vision right now for LFY.
Arfu trying to keep the wave rolling, goes for Kaka. Newbee looking to start the fight. The BKB comes out from Monet, turning towards SCCC, immediately nukes him down to half. Wait for one to the high ground, they get the call. The blade mail, the static storm, they're bringing him down low, but Monet still alive, they can't quite.
They actually get him!
Monet is down, and now Newbee moving for more. KP will fall, the GA comes out, but SCCC with the Requiem, burst down 2.
The stun on 2.
The next ultra kill for Moogie. It's a team wipe. LFY, they hit the decks. Newbee straight into the pit. They'll pick up Roshan. They'll get the Aegis. They'll get the cheese. What a hold there from Newbee around that pit.
What an unbelievable fight. KP with the master call there. Able to bring down Monet just at the edge of it. Even though he has that BKB, the silences weren't what killed him. It's just that a sheer amount of
And
damage coming up from
they were
Newbee.
so close to not getting Monet.
He almost gets healed up as well. And look at SCCC, almost dies right at the start of the fight too.
There we have it. The blade mail doing work
Blade mail,
there.
oh.
Static storm stopping anyone else from getting in.
And the stun on the Omni Knight again.
And then, oh my goodness, and now off the back of it, SCCC has a double damage. Newbee, they're moving down the mid lane. They're going to get the melee racks. They're going to take the range racks as well. And now with an 11k gold lead.
These games are insane how close they are between these two teams. Just one small little mistake and one team capitalizing on it so heavily. Now it's a level 20 Shadow Fiend too.
Look
That was
at
the
the
great
damage.
thing. DD, level 20 Shadow Fiend with that extra damage per soul plus Blood Rage, buildings drop super quickly.
Very close to having the goal for that complete Satanic as well, SCCC.
And Aegis and Cheese is the biggest thing too now. They have that to be able to make sure they can take extra fights versus that Morph. And they have 3 strong core heroes that can match up pretty well versus Morphling in the late stages once they get their magic immunities and they get their tank ability up. Since Super is not really getting that much farm or anything in the fights. 4 and 7 now on this Bristleback.
Trying to finish off that Halberd, so they have at least something to hold back.
It's got the level.
SCCC.
It's got the level 20 now, at least for the Bristle, so a bit more survivability with that spell lifesteal through the quills.
Basher as well. Now complete for Moogie, so an extra bit of control through that BKB of the Morphling.
Just realized something, yo. Afu is 1 in 10 in this game. It's very rare for this to happen, actually, for LFY. The amount of disables that Newbee has in these fights is what's just sheerly winning them it.
As the Satanic Newbee, some massive iron pickups. That halberd, though, you have got to keep watching that. That could be pretty massive. If they're able to disarm SCCC when he goes for the Satanic usage, they could catch him off guard, and they certainly can still bring him down. We've seen in these fights, as long as Monet and Super are able to grab their hands and get it straight onto SCC's Shadow Fiend, they can bring him down. But bringing him down twice is certainly going to be a big ordeal.
And Mugi's also a big issue now. We saw him get the ultra kill in the last fight. He's just running around. 12, 1, and 11 on the Bloodseeker with the cheese as well and Basher. So he's got that extra lockdown that they can use. And eventually will be an Abyssal.
Look at this as well, LFY, they're coming out. They want to maybe try and fight here around the shrine. TDC smoke will dispel. They'll drop the offensive weave. KP jumps forward on the side, trying to catch out our food. Flaps his way out. Super coming in with a wrap around the side, like the armor ticking down low at Faith. Pops the Glimmer Kevin, not enough to survive. He goes down. SCCC gets the Requiem off, but they've lost Disruptor. Mugi falling low as well. Don't pop the cheese. Will survive. Now the Magnetize coming out in return, but it's not enough to bring them down. Newbee have lost two. They've lost the Aegis on the Shadow Fiend. KP jumps in.
Monet gets called up.
Got the damage to bring down the small fleet. There's the Monet is gone. And now they're moving in full Super. The break hit comes through from SCCC. Bristle back down as well.
This Blade Mail from KP is putting in so much work. The amount of damage it's able to reflect from the morphling back on him.
And look at this, Kaka buying back straight away, wanting to put this extra pressure on down bottom. There's no buyback on Super. He's down for a full minute.
The power of the Aegis and cheese coming in there. Newbee did not have that one. That fight could have been an absolute disaster for them, but LFY forced to use buybacks here to defend.
Let's see what they can do. Monet ready on the high ground. They'll wait out this offensive weave once again. I mean, we saw there how close, as you say, it got for Newbee. But the amount of damage they take with their armor ticking down low, it's still something they have to be so aware of.
That was GA used though too, so that was a big amount of the physical aspect getting negated from that one. And they won't have it for the next upcoming engagement. Newbee's really just trying to force the issue here.
20 seconds still before Super's back up. Tier 3 tower nearly falling on this bottom lane. Trying to hold them off here with that replica of SCCC.
They hit a 3-man weave. They look to be dissuaded from pushing that because of that weave. And with Super respawning, they feel like they got enough off of that. Unbelievable, these turnarounds in this game.
At the moment, LFY still looking for theirs to come back around. As Newbee, one racks up, 16,000 net worth lead. As we see again, it's just the fact that they're able to kill off Monet each and every time. And as you say, a lot of it down to KP's control and positioning there. A little bit of an awkward fight there for LFY to try and take. And at the start, doesn't look to be too bad. They get one.
The big thing here is that SCCC forces the go on the Dazzle there. So Dazzle actually has to Grave TP home. So now the sustain starts lacking a bit for them here, and everything else starts adding up. Axe with a beautiful call on Monet, and able to clean him up easily there.
KP really the man of the moment here, securing these team fights there. And as you can see, excitement in the Newbee booth here in this Game 3. The victor of this to go straight forward to the grand finals.
Forcing this buyback too on Monet slows his farm down so heavily. He was getting closer and closer to that Ayascati, but now quite a ways away from it. Super trying to build toward that Octarine to have that extra lifesteal as well. And now we will see Inflame is going to be going for that mobility item after the Guardian Greaves, but he's been unable to really farm too much in this game from constant pressure from Newbee. And Newbee's not stopping. They don't want to give any breathing room to LFY. And they know that the buyback is on cooldown from the Morphling, so if they can kill that Morphling, this game will close out for them in the next few minutes.
And just sweeping down through LFY's jungle. Potentially getting in position down bottom to push in. But it could be a bit of a waiting game. Aegis, Cheese, Newbee know they have control at the moment. Certainly could wait it out for that. As there, at this point at least, seems to be no real reason for them to go too crazy with the pushes. They have this very strong lineup. They have control of the map. They can keep this one going for a while.
Exactly, yeah. Just farm as much as possible. They know it's pretty much only going to be the Morphling who's getting farm in all this, since the other lanes are going to push in, and I mean, Bristle and Morphling will be the only ones getting majority anything, but mostly just Monet. So SCCC is going to have BKB finished up right now too, so that could be one of the next windows where they go for a push. Having that magic immunity is going to be super nice for his Morphling, so now I can get that shotgun damage going toward him. KP as well has his own BKB on the axe. Just wanted to make sure that the little actual magic that LFY does have gets stopped.
LFY now beginning to venture outside of their base as a 5-man.
They have to stick together. They lost a lot of map control from the past engagements. They don't want to lose this gem. They really need this to be able to clear out that vision and take veteran fights.
Trying to reclaim some sort of control over their half of the map, and they will realize that Newbee are likely to not still be hanging around, and so we'll feel a little more confident in terms of pushing these lanes back out for the time being.
Roche respawning. We're going to find out soon. About 10 seconds till we see that timer. Newbee's starting to position themselves toward that pit. Get some wards around that area as well, since this Aegis cheese is going to be the big thing for them to go for that high ground push with those fresh BKBs. And how long do we got? We got 1 minute on that Roche respawn.
Definitely a sort of timing that will favor Newbee, wanting to make the go ASAP. But LFY almost certainly not going to let them have this one for free. They are going to want to try and get some sort of map control around this pit.
They have to contest this Aegis and cheese before it's going to happen. It looks like they're trying to take a fight beforehand with this Night Stalker vision.
Looking to move forward.
They've got the gem. They see Mugi. Mugi's got BKB though, and there's no real disable like we've been mentioning for LFY. Their team fight is still quite minimal. They just have a brute force lineup.
Yeah, their initiation potential in comparison to Newbee is just, it's abysmal. There's no sort of jump in and go from LFY, whereas Newbee have countless different ways of starting the fight themselves.
Yeah. Newbee's playing all together, not wanting anyone to get picked off by themselves from that Morphling. Very disciplined. Roche going to be spawning now. KP will spot it as soon as it comes up. Bam. And they're going to make their go.
Seeing the 3 in the mid, they'll feel very comfortable. I'd imagine going almost straight into the pit.
Yeah.
Knowing that LFY is still back dealing with the stronger push in of the creeps.
They kill this really fast too, with Shadow Fiend with so much damage now, plus the Blood Rage as we've been mentioning. Aegis and Cheese is going to make LFY's fight extremely difficult to actually deal with, bringing down Shadow Fiend twice, bringing down Mugi twice as well.
There we have it, Cheese. Into the hands of Mugi, Aegis. There for SCCC.
Very disciplined now for Newbee, not wanting to make any mistakes to try to let LFY come back in this game. This Morphling is still quite farmed, about to have Eye of Scotty finished up very soon. But the Bristle and the Omni Knight are the ones who are falling quite far behind on LFY. It's pretty much all up to Monet in those engagements to be the carry. And the dewarding comes out. Newbee knows that LFY got a little bit of freedom to get out of the base, so with that gem on Kaka, just take out a couple wards.
Solar Crest complete now on Kaka as well, so...
He's super farmed on this Earth Spirit.
Yeah.
Pipe, Fuels, Solar Crest. Having an incredibly good game. Part of 26 of their 35 kills. Been landing in amazing boulder smashes and geomagnetic grips.
Let's see how successful they are.
With Aegis and Cheese, it's daytime as well. They were probably waiting for that too, and they're going to get their siege going now. Force LFY to get back. Monet now looks like he wants to try to pressure top. His TP's on cooldown. He's got Replicate though for 5 more seconds back in the base.
He's got to seriously think about coming back before that Replicate runs out, and he does. Yeah, he's here for this hold. Quite some hold it's going to have to be from LFY.
There's no shrines either for
KP
LFY.
gets the grab. Does manage to find the Morphling though. SCCC's the one up on trouble. Super going straight for in the Boulder Smash, holding back 2. But SCCC down to half health, back in. He's falling incredibly quickly there with the armor reduction. They'll take the Aegis, Super, Glimpse just to the side. Can they kill SCCC a second time? BKB comes down immediately. Newbee disengaging. LFY still showing us how much power they have here as they hold back for the time being this Aegis push from Newbee.
Super still able to deal a lot of damage as this Bristle back once he gets a couple goose stacks on people.
Keeping that tier 3 alive as well.
They need to buy. They need to buy a lot of time for Monet. Still has a lot of growth for this Morphling. Now hitting level 25 for that Replicate bonus damage.
Very close to having the Skadi as well. Yep. 200 gold, and that's there for the Morph.
Needs all those big stats to kind of deal with the Axe Blade Mill, because KP's just been getting perfect calls on him with that.
Still though an incredible Incredibly sizable lead that they'll have to turn. 22,000 net worth here for Newbee. Now maybe the fact that Newbee have such a lead, they had the Aegis and they still could not break a second lane of Rax, that's got to be a little worrying here for the side. And very good news for LFY.
They still have to play it very smart, yeah. The Morphling can still go out of control.
A lot of that money as well still yet to be invested as SCCC is holding on to 5K.
As is Mugi, 4,300. Got the Visceral Blade queued up. Now the BKB's back online. They're going to go continue that pressure during the daytime. Since there is also no darkness available just yet for Apu. About 10 more seconds though on that one. And now I've Scotty's finished. If Newbee's able to kill the Morphling though, there will be no buyback from him. Next item choice from the Morphling from Monet is going to be Satanic to deal with that Blade Mill.
CCC trying to get a hit onto the tower, immediately disarmed. Back up he goes. At the tower this time round. But Bright making sure that LFY can't chase him for grabbing. In fact,
that was a glyph too.
That was the glyph being used. A little unnecessarily.
That could be very costly
yeah.
there. Without a glyph now. Newbee still though, reluctant. It's during nighttime they don't want to take an engagement.
Incredible patience here from Newbee. And understandable as well, because of how much weight rests on this one game. For both sides, they cannot afford to give up the lead and give up this position that they're in right now. And there still is the chance of that happening. LFY can still turn the fights.
Yeah, just the Morphling. Monet is all of their damage coming out.
See if they can catch him.
See him outside the base, but Monet still has the replicate up. He's going to continue trying to keep that top wave out. He has to make sure that at least one of these waves gets pushed out, but too many heroes in the area, has to jump back to his replicate.
It's almost an impossible catch as well, unless they get the call off straight away and then have the follow-up damage, but even that is incredibly unlikely. Maybe a bit more likely so now with the Orchid, and eventually once that Bloodthorn does come out, they'll have it. And SCCC at the moment looks like he's just making sure that he does have buyback available before going fully in on that investment, and that makes sense as well. You know, we've seen already SCCC can still do a lot. He doesn't need to sort of take that risk.
This is the game to play safe, that's for sure. How much is on the line? They're all getting their level 25s now, and you know, past that 40-minute mark, we've got double runes, we've got extra waves. So Newbee wants to keep control of the map. So it's about 3 minutes of nighttime. So LFY is going to have a little bit of vision advantage, but with the smoke coming up from Newbee, they're looking to try to get a pickoff coming out. LFY though, still, they got to sit in their base. Lanes all now start pushing in.
Dire are scanning.
Yeah, they would love to catch Monet somehow, but as you say, playing very, very, very elusively here with the small thing.
Yeah, it's pretty much Monet's pushing out waves, Super waits for the waves to come in, and then all of LFY, the rest, the other three just sitting right behind that bristle. Because none of them, they can't get picked off, they can just lose the game off with one pick off. So level 25 Bloodseeker is going to be coming out quite soon.
And Super has that Shiva's Guard as well. That'll be a bit of a substantial step up to LFY's high ground defensive potential.
And their chase, you know, that Shiva's is pretty much going to be their biggest form of catch once they do get it for their LFY, since they, like we've been mentioning, have little to no stun / catch.
And Arfu closing in on the Lotus Orb, something else that will enable Monet to go crazy in these fights.
Yeah, that armor is going to be great for everybody as well. Just having that plate mail up on those two heroes, the Shivas as well as that Lotus Orb like you were mentioning. And I mean, he could get some really nice reflects. Could be a nice rupture reflect, something along those lines.
I mean, if you
are
are
to remove the silences more so though.
If you're Monet, how do you look to play these fights? Are you just looking to try and punish a failed jump in from Newbee, or are you making a beeline straight for a hero?
He can kill the disruptor still super easily by himself with just a shotgun. Here we go. Smoke coming out.
AP, he's going to be on the front
runs in.
This. They do get the Thunder Strike straight away onto the Night Stalker.
They stopped KP's initiation too.
Battle Hunger onto Super, Newbee.
Reluctant to commit. Afu though, gonna be dropped down. He Yules as well.
He's almost certainly dead there. They'll try and hold back one, but he's gone. KP looking for the call, but the waveformer wave was there from Monet. They've lost one. Monet trying to man him against Mugi. KP coming in there from the bash as well, but the GA's out. Static Sword's down with the BKB's already there from Monet. They tried to finish up Mugi, but Mugi swallows the cheese, turns back around. KP's back in as well with the call onto Monet. The grave comes out, but it doesn't matter. The dunk's there from KP. Super loses his life as well. They'll buy back on Monet. They do have buyback available on Super. But Newbee once again taking these fights.
They're so damn tanky now on the side of Newbee to deal with this Morphling. Even Kaka gets shotgun and takes 0 damage because he has a pipe.
Surely Super's going to have to buy back. He's down for a minute. We'll see how heavy Newbee want to go in with the pressure here in this bottom lane.
That was the cheese though for Mugi. He would have probably dropped in that situation if he didn't have it, but now finishes a full AC for the next
The buyback with KP jumps in, tries to get a call with Money. He zips it off straight away onto SCCC. The dust is out, now they're forcing them back. Onto KP, bringing down the axe, the pipe is out, the force is there, KP survives, and now the bash comes through from Mugi, turning towards Money, wait for back up to the high ground, but they've lost the Omni Knight. Money's beat, KP's gonna run out soon. The silence kicks in.
Money silence.
The back off. He's not gonna get out, or is he? The Linkers is there. The silence wears off, but the glimpse is there.
And they call GG.
Newbee are your first grand finalists here at the International 2017. They put a stop to LFY's unstoppable reign as it seemed here in the upper bracket. Newbee knocking LFY down. What a
KP
victory.
coming in super clutch with this axe. That
Absolutely.
blade mail pickup is what turned everything. It looked like LFY might have a chance to kind of come back into it, but then as soon as that blade mail is picked up, that fight by the Roche, just able to pretty much kill Monet on himself. Super impressive. And just their sheer lockdown coming out from Kaka. Just this Earth Spirit performance has been impeccable on this main stage.
Every single time that boulder smash or geomagnetic grip catching out at least one of the back lines. And Newbee, your first finalist, Faith, one step closer to
Yep.
becoming that two-time TI champion.
They've got to be feeling so happy taking a win like that over LFY. Like we were talking about, these two teams know each other so well. LFY has the slight favor over Newbee as far as we know in the recent performances, but now here at the big stage, Newbee comes in clutch.
And SCCC's performance as well. Getting that Shadow
Yeah.
Queen at that last pick. We saw him do so much in terms of mid-game damage, but it's really hard to call who you'd say was the MVP there. You say KP playing his mind off on that axe, and then the Spirit as well.
Yeah, those two. It seems like I feel like I keep going back to that. This offlaner and 4-roll are the ones just coming in clutch in the majority of these games. It's very impressive to see coming out, and Newbee really happy with themselves now.
Absolutely, and a great patience up to the last moment as well. Saving everything for that final push, getting every item together, even waiting on the Assault Crest as we saw from Mugi. And no stopping them at that stage. Everything for LFY in terms of hopes was sort of rested on the Bristle, on the Morphling at that stage, but they just weren't quite tanky enough to deal with that sort of effort and that push from Newbee.
And very rare to see, Afu having such a hard game for himself as a Night Stalker, ended up 1-12. They tried, but Newbee's lineup overall, that heavy amount of team fight to be victorious.
Well, we'll certainly see more from LFY down in the lower bracket, but Newbee, ladies and gentlemen, your first grand finalist here at the International 2017 as they take LFY down 2-1. Back to the panel now after an incredible winners bracket final.
Thank you, gentlemen. Indeed, LFY, for the first time ever, loses a series at this international, and they will fall to lowers as Newbee advances to the grand final. To reflect a little bit on that series, I got PPD, Merlini, and Sebastian, the madman, Coach OG, to break things down for us. And I want to go straight into that draft from LFY that looked a little funky. There were some discussions here on the panel, and backstage, Envy was talking about how hard it is to kill anyone on the Omni Knight Bristleback, that whole lineup of heroes. What are your thoughts on the draft that LFY brought to the table?
I personally liked it. I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, it was a very good morph game, I would say, especially a repel morph game. It was pretty much 3-1. Newbee played really well, though, the first minutes of that game and what happened after and the first team fight. So LFY was playing from behind. I think the game would have looked very different had the lanes and the first skirmishes went better for them. I also like the Dazzle Bristle. I think Dazzle is a big enabler of how Super wants to play the game. I didn't dislike LFY's draft, honestly. I was pretty happy with what they got this game, even though they lost.
Has it come to that time where first pick Bloodseeker's a thing?
I'm not a fan of it personally. I think I don't think you should get away with it. But I mean, they got away with it. So what do I know? It just worked.
The hero, for them at least, is rising in popularity. It seems like it's something that they're incredibly confident on, and they're getting good results from it.
Yeah, I mean, he's such a beast in lane, just being able to constantly reheal and reheal. I mean, let's talk about Newbee for a little bit. I mean, they were having a commanding presence throughout the entire game and are looking really good going into the finals.
They had a really good early game, like Sebastian was saying. I think I actually did kind of favor their draft quite a bit more than LFY's, and that's mostly because LFY drafted two defensive heroes in Omni Knight and Dazzle against 4 silences from Newbee, and then also they didn't really have any initiator. They had a 4-position Night Stalker and a 3-position Omni Knight, and then their 5 was a Dazzle. They didn't really have any way to start fights or take control of the game. They were just always playing reactionary.
Seemed hard for anyone to kill each other, honestly.
Yeah, they were really, really tanky and really hard to kill, but I don't really think Newbee was ever at threat. Like, if they just wanted to back off at any time, that was an option for them.
Yeah. And with the winners, we got Casey, who's joined by the famous mid laner SCCC. Casey, how's he doing?
He's doing really well. Obviously, a huge series for them. We're also joined by Jack, who'll be interpreting for us. Congratulations, first of all. You made it to the grand finals. This has to be especially meaningful considering you did it against LFY, who bested you in group stage. Why do you think things were different in this series for you as a team, particularly with coming back in that third game?
那么是恭喜你们进入了本次国际邀请赛的总决赛。那么可能这场比赛有一些特殊的意义，因为你们战胜的是老肥羊，而他们在小组赛时是打败你们。那么你们是做了一些什么样的调整，能导致这次获胜？
首先第一个，我觉得我们的 BB 方面做的比较好吧。然后我们5个队友，我觉得我们的心态已经就是变得非常的好吧，觉得就是没有什么是不可战胜的。
Well, first, I think in terms of drafting, I think we did a really good job this time. And as far as our 5 players and like our own like mindset and how we feel, like I think we've pretty much gotten that in order. And like nothing will, you know, we feel like nothing can beat us at this point.
Shadow Fiend is one of your signature heroes. We haven't seen it from you until today. Why do you think this was the right time to play it?
就是影魔也算是你的一个绝活英雄那么就是好像整个小组赛你没用过，为什么决定最后一片刻在这场比赛拿出来？
首先的话，就是我们最后一把的话，可能就是选择的英雄的话，可能没有那么多。然后只是我自己觉得我自己的影魔打得非常的好吧，然后我队友也非常的信任我，然后我和他们说影魔，他们都说觉得可以，然后我们就一起选了这个英雄。
I don't think we had too many choices left for the final for the final pick, and I feel that I feel very confident in that I played Shadow Fiend very well. So we discussed it with our teammates, and they believed in me and they trusted me, so we brought it up.
And it sure paid off. So congratulations. Grand finals are tomorrow. If you had to pick, you could have any of the remaining teams as your choice. Who do you want to see? Who do you want to face in the grand finals? And what's your mental approach to tomorrow?
就是再次恭喜你，然后明天总决赛，你们要是从3个可能的对手之中选一个，你们会选择谁？而且你们会如何去为明天备战？
选的话，我觉得这个就是作为我自己来说，不是我选就能决定的，还是看他们自己的就是这种。 打得怎么样吧？然后我们备战的话，就是我觉得我们就是，不管你姓什么、名什么、从哪来到哪去，我也不管我是输还是赢。我现在想的就是我们要放开了打，谁来我们都不怕。
So as far as picking opponents, well, obviously I can't really decide that. They'll have to play out and determine among themselves. But as far as preparation, it doesn't matter what your name is, where you're from, where you're coming and going to. Like we have to be ready for tomorrow. We're not going to be afraid of anything, and we'll absolutely be ready.
We're looking forward to it. SCCC, congratulations. Jack, thank you again as always, and we'll send it back to you guys.
Thank you, Casey. Thank you, Jack. And of course, congrats to SCCC, who is the match MVP because on Shadow Fiend, he murdered. Oh my God, his Shadow Fiend was terrifying in that game.
Not here we see that much, but having a ton of success here. It's something that he used to play all the time when the hero was very, very popular, but bringing it out at TI in the winter bracket finals.
Good amount of votes for Kaka and KP. I think Kaka really secured SCCC's early game, killing Super a few times.
I mean, this guy is a great SF player, probably one of the best. I mean, my favorite SF player by far. He understands what the hero needs to do, and like he pressures a lot also when he plays it. And I mean, he got a great matchup, SF versus Bristle. Like Bristle mid doesn't care so much about like a lot of heroes, but SF is a really rough matchup for Bristle.
You got to be careful when you pick a melee for mid. There's a lot of matchups that you can be very, very abused.
I mean, it's also really nice to when that Shadow Fiend was picked in 5th. I mean, there were already a lot of sort of intimidating threats that were set up from Newbee. The fact that, they have the Disruptor, Bloodseeker, Earth Spirit all just bombing in constantly. But Shadow Fiend is such an intimidating late game tower hitter.
Yeah, I like kind of comboing him with the Bloodseeker. I really, obviously Bloodseeker's having a ton of success, but I don't think it's your one carry to win a game. So having like a Shadow Fiend's also not like the hardest carry, but he's like a pretty hard carry, and I think he complements Bloodseeker in that way. They both good constant stream of damage.
Yeah, I mean, Bloodseeker is definitely an enabler. Like, you're running Bloodseeker with another hero or against a certain hero to shut down what they're trying to do, but it is, like, exactly what you said. It's not a hero that's going to go in and win the game by itself, especially when you first pick Bloodseeker. It's probably why it's also okay to first pick it, because first face it at least, because it's going to get a good laning phase no matter what, very strong laner, and it's not really there to win the game. So, I mean, they can try to counter it, but it's pretty pointless, because then the SF comes and it's a Bloodseeker SF now. And if you didn't address the SF and you kept like trying to counter the Bloodseeker, you're actually in a really bad position when it comes to drafting.
I mean, do you think that there is a different way that LFY could have played in that match? Because, I mean, again, we had skepticism on the panel previously just about the drafting phase.
Of course, there's always options, right?
Yeah, you can always be Captain Hindsight.
Obviously, what they decided to do was not the best way to play the game, or else it would have gone better. Ben, like, what do you think is like the solution to this Bloodseeker pick? Is it a ban?
I don't actually know. Maybe just not let him in not leave him in a 2-on-1 or a 1-on-1 situation. I think he's really strong in 1-on-1, but 3-on-1 or 2-on-1 he struggles a lot. So maybe aggro try.
Yeah, he doesn't offer very much in lane.
Yeah, he wins like I think every 1-on-1 matchup, even like versus the tough matchups like Timbersaw. I think he beats pretty badly. Axe I think he does pretty well against, which is typically like a no-no for any melee. So if you can't beat him 1-on-1, you have to do something else about it.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how the Bloodseeker picks develop, because again, Newbee guaranteed to be in the grand final at this point. Now, there are still matches coming up today. One more, if we take a look at the brackets, it is the fourth place match. It will be between Team Liquid and LGD Gaming. So maybe not the fourth place match, but the loser of that will be in fourth, and the winner will advance on to face LFY tomorrow. And a lot of eyes on this match, as Team Liquid is the only non-Chinese team remaining. LGD, of course, shares a team with LFY. LFY's full name is LGD Forever Young, two different divisions within the same team. It could be a team kill going up against there. And keep in mind, tomorrow is the last day of the International. So whoever is in that lower bracket final will have to play that and then play the grand final immediately thereafter. So really draining day. That is a huge advantage Newbee's going to have. I want to pull back to Team Liquid LGD. Thoughts going into this match?
It's going to be a very hard match, obviously. Both teams are extremely good. To me, Liquid is like the last standing team that they have their own play style, and they didn't adapt, honestly. They just kept going for what they had, and it's been working really well so far. And I think LGD is a pretty good matchup for them, actually. They faced each other in the group stages, and Liquid showed a way to break LGD, which is kind of break their laning setup that is very stable and that is working for them. But if I would pick any team in this, or in the 4 teams that are remaining that could do this to LGD, it is Liquid for sure. Yeah.
What would you identify as LGD's main weaknesses when you studied them when you were preparing with OG?
Without going into too much details, what I can say is that they have this system that works really well for them with the way they want to play the lanes, and they want the first 10 minutes to be played. And they secure themselves a position in the game where they don't have to do so much. This is where they like to be, where they don't have to do so much. Of course, they are willing to do stuff, but they don't like to get pressured. And the lane is what's going to get them to that point, right? The laning phase. If they crumble in the laning phase, then of course they don't get that game, even if they secure it drafting-wise. And they always tend to secure. They first pick Magnus, this type of first pick. So they're aiming for that. But if you break them during laning phase, which is what Liquid can do, and the game that they played against them, they crushed them. They had Whisper Baker, I think, and they were diving tier 2 towers 5 minutes in. And LGD never get where they wanted to get.
They play some weaker supports, especially like they're like slower supports. They really like Rasta, who definitely needs a couple levels before he comes online. Yeah. Kunkka as well. These are heroes that kind of want to sit back in their lanes, maybe get like level 3, level 4 before they actually start moving around.
If you look at the AA Kunkka, right, it's very scary when they're together. But if it's just a Kunkka and an AA that have to keep you around the map and it's very chaotic playstyle, then now these supports are going to look like the weakest. And you're going to look at this game and you're going to be like, their draft is very bad. But it's just because they broke them.
The one thing I do like about what LGD has going in here is that Magnus pick. If it doesn't get banned, I know Liquid's been running tons of heroes with summons, the Furion, Broodmother, Lycan, and Magnus with Cleave, putting that on his other melee heroes. They're going to be able to handle all those units pretty easily.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like almost an ideal matchup for Team Liquid. They want to make sure that they support their core heroes. And to do that, they get to ban one of LGD's core heroes.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Magnus ban makes a lot of sense to me. I would be surprised if it's not there. Maybe Liquid has a plan for it, but the games where I've seen Liquid having success is, I think Magnus would totally counter what they're doing.
At the same time, I'm looking at what Liquid can do. I think Liquid is one team that can play extremely fast, and Magnus doesn't really like that. So there is a way for Liquid to abuse the Magnus first pick. It is very risky, I think. I agree. We didn't go for it, for example, but I think Liquid, they have certain ways. I mean, we'll see what they do, right? But they have a way to play way too fast for Magnus to even have an impact in this game. By the time he gets a blink, what if Liquid already secured themselves an Aegis, for example, and then you can't fight into it anymore? They have ways to deal with it, I would say.
Well, as this final match is getting set up for the day, in between the last matches we had the costume competition, and now we have a little bit of a special treat before we get into that lower bracket match.